Okay, it's one of the other patterns of hooks. It's the Boilie Beak Point, BBP. Basically they're just a very, very strong hook, got a beaked point on them, but not overly beaked, you know. But nice round bend on them, wide gape style look, if you know what I mean. Short shank, wide gape with a beak point. Ideal bottom bait hook. This is the pattern of hook that I favour when I'm fishing with a bottom bait straight out the bag, if you like, hard on the bottom. If I was balancing out my bait, maybe a nice slow sinker or a wafter or something, then I'd be more likely to use one of the curve shank patterns. The short shank curve pattern would be better in that situation. But with a bait hard on the bottom, I really do like these short shank beak points. Now, like all of the hooks, the ace hooks, the new ones, they're all very, very sharp. Do the test, instantly sticks. No sliding, no scratching, instantly sticks, nice and sharp. Lovely wide gape, so plenty of holding power. They get hold of a lot of flesh, grab them by the jaw, they're on the end. And this is how I fish them. There's not much point in showing you how to tie it up, it's very, very simple. Just a coated braided hook link. I've no knotted on the hook on the end, size 5 in this case. Bit of shrink tube on the top, which I've kicked over. And rather than having the hair leave halfway out the shank like you would do with a lot of bottom bait style presentations, I prefer to trap the hair all the way around the bend, just below the barb really, with a little bit of 0.5mm silicone. And what this does is really, really good, especially when you're using slightly bigger baits. It's okay with 15mm, obviously I'd use a smaller hook, I might drop down to a 6 or a 7 with a 15mm boilie. But if I'm using 18s or 20mm, then I use the 5s. And this rig definitely works better with bigger baits. I think basically that's because it's relying on the weight of the bait to turn the hook. Likewise, a couple of monster tiger nuts would do the same thing. Quite heavy, aids in turning the hook. And I'll show you what I mean there. Now, I'm going to put that hook upright. So it's in the worst possible position to hook a fish. Now, if you imagine that's inside a carp's mouth, as soon as it tightens to the lead and swims away, that's it, that's the only amount, that's all I've had to do is move it an inch and that hook has spun round and done the job. So there you go, like so. Fish, that's inside the fish's mouth, it turns away, tightens up to the lead, wallop, it's got it every time. And that's simply because of where I've trapped the hair. I've trapped it just below the barb and it's using the weight of the bait to help turn the hook. No good for balance baits. If you're using, say for instance, one of the Dynamite 50/50s or balancing out your bait with a bit of cork. I know some people like to use a pop-up of a split shot underneath it and get it so it's critically balanced. In that case, you're always better off with a hook freely swinging beneath the bait, and the curve shank pattern is definitely best in that situation. With a bait hard out, straight out the bag, fished hard on the bottom, especially the bigger ones, that's the way to do it. The other way is a blowback rig with a ring sliding up and down on the shank. But to be honest, that's the way I normally do it nowadays. Just works every time. Nice and simple, does the job.